Yes people, welcome back to the channel, and today I've got my Premier League predictions for the upcoming 24-25 season. As you know, last year I did this and it didn't go as planned. I had some horror takes, it weren't the best, so this year I'm hoping I can do better. But yeah, the season starts tomorrow as I'm recording this, so please people, what are your predictions? Please let me know. If you do go on to enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new around here. I'd love to know your personal Premier League predictions, so either leave them in the comment section below or join the Discord. Obviously we've got the Discord available now, the link will always be in the description. And if you do play FPL and fantasy football is your thing, we currently have a £30 reward for the winner of our mini league on the Discord. If you're interested in that, you'd like to join, the link down below, you know where to find the Discord. But yeah, let's get started, man. I'm really worried, to be honest. I've tried to think this a bit more, nothing too ambitious. Just, I don't know, I just need to improve from last year, because last year was a disaster, I'll tell you that.
Burnley in 10th and...
But I think this is a safe place to start. Leicester City in my 20th position. And I think it's for good reason. I mean, their points deduction, which is almost certain to happen now, up to 12 points, I think. But I think at minimum I'm hearing 10, but it's not confirmed yet, but it is almost certain. Obviously, they've lost their manager, Enzo Maresca, which helped them get promoted last season. And if I'm honest, I'm not convinced by Steve Cooper. Obviously, he did, keep Nottingham Forest up when they did come up in the 22-23 season, but I think that was more of the City ground factor, and so I think when you go to the King Power it won't have that same effect at home form. And in the window their business has been up and down. Obviously they've got Decordova-Reid in from Fulham, they've got a young midfielder from Chelsea, Golden, they've lost Albrighton, Iniesta, and the big loss is Dewsbury Hall to Chelsea, which is a massive loss. But yeah, Decordova's a decent signing, but I don't think it's enough firepower for them to get the goals. I just think, yeah, there is a real lack of just threat, I should say, and they are going to struggle. It's unfortunate. I think that the point deduction is what really kills this. I would have them around the relegation, but I think I might tip them to survive. Because of the point deduction, I think they're almost certain to go down, and I'm going to say bottom. But it's sad, man. I didn't think I'd put it in the bottom, but especially Leicester City, you know, they're almost a statement name these days, but yeah, sad. Next, we have new boys Ipswich Town, and I've got them in 19th place, going straight back down, unfortunately. And this is one that I found very hard to predict, and that is for all the relegation sides, to be fair. They have made some decent and smart signings. You know, I'm excited to see Hutchinson in the Premier League, Amari Hutchinson, who was formerly an Arsenal academy player, moved to Chelsea, was on loan to Ipswich, and then now they've bought them on a permanent transfer for £20 million. They've also got Liam Delap in, the legend Rory Delap's son, so I'm excited to see how he does. But yeah, Ben Johnson in as well from West Ham, Muric from Burnley, they're the new keeper, so it is some smart business. But the team isn't bad, to be honest. But however, my good friend ABZ, please do check out his prediction video. I'll leave a link to it in the description. He made a great point when I was watching his video, that with back-to-back promotions, obviously because they were in League One, got promoted to Championship, and then got straight back up to the Premier League, this team is very similar to how it was all the way in League One and obviously the Championship. So I think it is very hard to keep up with the quality of the rest of the league, and yeah, I think they won't have enough. I think they will go down. 18th position. Now this one is an interesting one, but I'm putting Brentford as the last team to go down. Now this is a bold prediction, but I do think that their time has been coming for a while now. The squad has been underachieving. Based on what they showed from both the 21-22 season and the 22-23 season, last season they underachieved massively. Obviously Tony was out, but I'm just not sold by them. Tony's not been firing since he returned anyway, and we don't even know if he'll stay, but I think he will. Whistler's the only real lifeline in the attack, and obviously they brought in Carvalho from Liverpool. They've brought in Igor, a striker, but he's injured until 2025 anyway, and I think it's a lot to rely on. Carvalho, he's still a young player, was good at Liverpool, was decent, didn't get much opportunities. And they've got good fullbacks, they've got a good squad, they've got good fullbacks, but both are very injury prone in Hickey and Henry. Hollins needs to improve this season, even Shade needs to improve, Damsgaard. Their team looks good on paper, but they're not cutting it at the moment. The only thing which is kind of doubting me here, and why I think they could stay up maybe, is because of Thomas Frank. I rate Thomas Frank quite highly as a manager, but I don't know, I think this is their time. I think they will go down, unfortunately. And yeah, they may cut that last of the relegation spots. 17th place, I'm putting Southampton, the last of the newly promoted three. I think they'll just about stay up. I'm quite impressed with their recruitment, because they've brought in talented youngsters, as well as Premier League experienced old heads, in Lallana and Taylor. The youngsters being Harwood Bellis, who was amazing in Burnley's promoted season. Obviously, they didn't get to re-sign them for the Premier League campaign. Flynn Downs in, Brereton Diaz, who was at Sheffield United for a period last year, and was probably the only real shining light. And I respect Russell Martin for his bravery and style of play. And this could be another Burnley situation where, if he's not careful and he tries to go toe to toe with teams, they will get punished like how we saw with Burnley. So he does need to know that he has to adapt, which I think is where players like Lallana and Taylor come in. But yeah, out of the 3 promoted, they convinced me the most, which I think might be surprising to some people, but they do. Nottingham Forest are having 16th position, and realistically, they should have gone down last season. But the teams below them were genuinely that bad that they had to stay up, really. And I said this last year that if they don't go down last year, then they will this year. But I have them 16th. They're still suffering from the terrible recruitment that they've had for years now, since they joined the Premier League. You know, they're not being able to bring in the best of names for this season. I'm not sold by anyone, really. They've brought in Anderson in from Newcastle. It's not bad. They brought in a young player from St. Pauli, who was obviously part of that promoted team, Moreira, I think that's how you say it, and Jota Silva, Vitoria forward. So under the radar players, and who knows, they could do well. This just sums it up. This season, the loans that have expired, Reina, Tavares, Montiel, Origi, Ribeiro, it has been absolutely mad, that squad, and I don't really know what the plan is. Nuno, bless him, but I don't think his style of play, it worked at Wolves. Tottenham absolutely got binned off, but I don't know. The only reason why I think they will stay up, their home form is always great. They can always back the City ground. I think if Awoniyi stays fit, that'll be really big for them. If Gibbs White stays, which I think he will, Murillo, he balled out last season. I think he really went under the radar. And obviously Callum Hudson-Odoi and Alanga, some tricky wingers. But yeah, I think they'll have enough to stay up this year. But for the future, I don't know. This come next year, I could be saying a different thing. Everton make up my 15th place spot. Now, they look to have avoided a points deduction this season, but realistically, you never know what can happen. There were rumours, I think last April-ish, saying that they were going to go into the season with another points deduction. And they did well last year, considering the deduction. They played very well and got some great results. They had a great clean sheet record, only behind the eventual winner David Raya and Arsenal for the Golden Glove. Now, but whilst they did have the 4th best defence in the league, based on goals conceded, they had the least goals scored in the entire league. That includes Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton. It was embarrassing, to be fair. But you can see a statement of intent. They've aimed to improve in attack with signing Ndia from Marseille, who was crucial when Sheffield United get promoted last season. Lindstrom from Napoli, attacking mid, good signing. I think he's one to watch this year. And they've brought in a young centre back to bolster that defence in a little bit more. O'Brien from Lyon. But the main talking point is the loss of Onana to Aston Villa, which is a big loss. But I'm going to back Dyche. I'm going to trust him to say that he will be able to keep them up. If they can, that's the thing, avoiding them points deductions and hoping just to build on the seasons to come. Wolverhampton Wanderers, 14th position I've placed them. Gary O'Neill did a great job last year. Absolutely amazing. They proved loads of doubters wrong. You know, after Lopetegui left, a lot of people thought, it's not even comparable, the replacement. But he did an amazing job. He beat City. I think he beat Spurs. He beat Chelsea. But so did everyone pretty much last year. But yeah, they've signed Doyle permanently. They've signed Rodrigo Gomez, 12 million for he's kind of like a wide forward. Lima in, but it's the reason that I put them a little bit lower is because it's who they've lost, which I think is significant. They've lost Pedro Neto, and yes, while he is very injury prone, it's a massive loss because when he can play, he's one of their best players, undoubtedly. Tillman departing to West Ham is also a massive loss, but for £40 million. I mean, I'll take the money as well, to be fair. So, fair enough. So yeah, I still think they're going to be fine. They can still score goals. It's they've got Sarabia, Cunha, Hwang, Podence, Guedes. It's their defence which scares me. When I look at them, they've got, Aït-Nouri looks like he's going to stay. I think they definitely need to bring a centre back before the end of the window. And obviously, I'm filming this before the window's shut, so who knows what can happen. But at this moment, Wolves are going to be in 14th position. 13th place, I've got Fulham. And this is what I think. Fulham are a very hard team to predict, I think. Because some years they do really, really well. And then other years they just look like they're going to get relegated flat. Like, I think there's been some smart signings, and they got back Sessegnon on a free transfer as well, so you can't complain. And Smith Rowe, very, very talented Smith Rowe. I also did a video essay on Smith Rowe, so if you want to go check that out, I'll leave a link in the description to that as well. But yeah, I think he can really ball out. If he can stay fit, if both of them can stay fit, both him and Sessegnon, I think it will be a difference between them. Smith Rowe, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, well, clearly, and when he did play for us, he literally carried us for the 21-22 season. But their massive big concern is the Palhinha sale. I mean, that is huge. Like, no one can stress how massive that is for Fulham. Like, he's helped them. He's always helped them so much in transition, breaking up play, allowing them to be like more confident when, and take risks more often. Because you know that you've got that massive powerhouse in Palhinha there to break up play. But I do think Marco Silva is a great manager as well. I've got quite a lot of respect for him, which is why I've put them, I've put Fulham above the prior two. But yeah, I think it's a respectable position. I think Fulham will take that. And yeah, hopefully they can spend the Palhinha money on something good, because they're going to need it, I think, in a couple of years, both defensively and attackingly. But 12th position, Bournemouth, I've got next. They've done amazing last season, absolutely amazing. The new manager proved everyone wrong. It's just the massive factor here is that they will miss Solanke. I mean, Solanke scored 19 goals for them last season. He was absolutely crucial. Yeah, they've got quite a lot of money for him, to be fair. They've brought in Sinistera, which was a good deal. They had to get him back in. Jebson in, young striker, Sheffield United, but he has big shoes to fill, man. Like, to fill in Solanke's boots for them is going to be hard. But I don't know, it could be a project signing. They've lost Kelly to Newcastle. I think they've still got good players in that squad. There's Zabarnyi, Semenyo, Billing. I think they'll be more than fine to stay up another year. But yeah, I think they will just need a bit more time to, really, if they can spend that money on another attacker, I think, to replace Solanke, then they might tip over 11th place, who are going to be Brighton. Now, Brighton under new management in Fabian Hürzeler. Fabian Hürzeler. That's what I'm going to go with. But he has big boots to fill, and it is immense pressure. He's the youngest Premier League manager ever. At 31 years of age, people are still playing. Loads of people are still... The majority of players are still playing at that age. But he did bits at St. Pauli. Got them promoted, won them the league, back into the Bundesliga. But yeah, I think Brighton are one to watch this year. People are very underrating them, because I think they've fallen off a bit. The Zerbi ball's gone, They've lost a lot of their once key players. Caicedo, obviously, last year. McAllister last year. This year, they lost Gross to Dortmund, Pascal Gross. But some of their signings, I think, are smart. They've signed Minte from Newcastle. He's a winger. He was on loan to Feyenoord last year. Kozio de Berry, Arsenal Academy graduate. Very, very underrated and talented. And Gruda from Mainz. I think they do have quite a few players under the radar that can surprise. I think there'll be if they can get a couple of string a couple of results together, all of a sudden their conversation goes from mid-table to maybe, jumping into them European places. But the team I'm putting right above them, creeping into the top half of the table, are their rivals, Crystal Palace. Now, we all know Glasner came in last year and did an amazing job. He flipped the script on Palace's whole season. And the big thing here, if Mateta can keep his form, what he ended the year with last year, obviously Elise is a massive loss. He's irreplaceable. No one's denying that. However, they have made some great signings, recruiting and using the money well in signing Kamada, who Glasner did work with before at Frankfurt, and also they signed Ismail Sarr, obviously at Watford before a couple of years ago. The only thing here which could maybe change this prediction is if they do lose Gehi to Newcastle, which they cannot afford to do that. They cannot afford to do that whatsoever. But yeah, they've still got Eze, Mateta, obviously, if he can bang in the goals, Anderson, great centre-back, Schlapp, Poiré, Wharton. They've got a great side there, and I think Glasner can continue cooking with them this year. So 10th again, I think they take that. But next I've got West Ham, 9th place position, new manager in Julian Lopetegui. He's then brought Kilman with him from his time at Wolves. £40 million. I mean, that is a lot of money. No one can deny that. But they've had some great recruitment, great additions in Somerville and Wan-Bissaka. So, they're still spending that Declan Rice money very smartly. Füllkrug from Borussia Dortmund had a great Euros, to be fair. They're trying to answer their striker problems that West Ham have had for absolutely decades now. But to be fair, I think he will fit in with the system. I don't think he'll be the main man, the star of the show. I think he'll just be like kind of like when Weghorst went to United. He kind of let players like Rashford, really help him and kind of link up you know what I'm trying to say? So Kudus and Boma and Paqueta will be the stars of the show due to Füllkrug getting in the system. And who knows, they could even creep into Europe. Like, I'm really not underestimating them at all. But I put them in 9th, only I just think it'll take some time for them to be adjusting to Lopetegui's style of play. 8th position, Newcastle United. This one could be wrong. This is very, very hard to call, Newcastle. I didn't back them last year, which is fair enough. I mean, because they didn't do that great. But I think Tonali back is a massive addition. You know, I think they did miss him. And also keeping both Isak and Bruno, huge, massive. But I don't know, it's the way that defense fell off from the 22-23 season being one of the best in the league to then just falling off the planet, like absolutely just, it was a great fall off. They looked really vulnerable, not solid whatsoever. I know Nick Pope, you know, had a lot more injuries last year, but it's fine. Fear no more. Newcastle brought in John fucking Ruddy. Remember that bold guy from Norwich and all them teams? I can't believe he's still playing. Obviously, they're trying to sign in Guehi as well. I don't know if they'll get it done, but yeah, it's going to be a tough season for them, I do think. Obviously, I predicted them to miss out on Europa League. I think 8th is Conference League, so they will get... Actually, is it? I'm pretty sure it is. This might show my ball knowledge here. But yeah, I think questions will be asked at how this year. Actually, no, it can't be, because United finished 8th, didn't they? Yeah. But regardless, yeah. Newcastle 8th place. Chelsea make my 7th position, though. And it's another year, another new manager in the Chelsea dugout, in the form of Enzo Maresca this time. And he's got a big task on his hands. I mean, it is a mess at that club. He's got a squad of way too many players, no real direction, no real style of play. But Maresca was very successful at Leicester with how he played. Obviously, another disciple of Pep Guardiola. But it's just their recruitment that it just boggles my mind every year. It makes no sense. Dewsbury Hall and Neto in. Both, yeah, decent signings, but do they need another winger? You know, even now that Gallagher's apparently staying, like, what's that all about? So what, do they need Dewsbury Hall? I think their main loss here is Thiago Silva. He was really kind of coaching, leading the other centre-backs, the young centre-backs, in Disasi, you know, Badiashile. Palmer, I think, will carry once again. I think he has to carry again. Enzo Fernandez, I want to see what he's made of this year. But yeah, I think the reason why I put them 7th, I think it's just too early for such a massive turnaround. Like, yes, they didn't do too bad in the year of 2024, but now they are back in Europe as well, in the Europa League, I'm pretty sure. They're going to have to cope with that as well. And I don't know, I think it'll be too much for them. The squad, they've still got loads of youngsters. They're just signing youngster after youngster. It don't make sense to me. But yeah, I'm going to have to put them 7th, man. 6th place. Another team who had a bad season last year. I'm predicting them to do a little bit better, Manchester United. Now, they had much better business from United compared to previous windows. Smart, very, very smart. They've signed in Xerxes. He's a great attacker from Bologna. Had a good season last year, and they did need more attacking threat to this year. Obviously, a great defender, very, very talented youngster in Euro, but he's injured. So I don't, you know, it's unfortunate in pre-season, but they seem to have covered it a little bit by signing both De Ligt and Mazraoui in one deal. And it's great bits of business because, you know, they both worked with Ten Hag before. But yeah, the outgoings, they had quite a lot of outgoings. Varane, Martial, Van der Beek, Greenwood and Wan-Bissaka. But I think all of them really had to go. Rashford's form will be crucial for how they finish this year. Like, if Rashford really does turn on how he was 22-23, this could easily jump from 6th to like 3rd. But I don't think he will. That's the thing, I don't think he will. Also, Højlund needs to start, keep fit. Martinez needs to keep fit. With no Europe, I expect them to do better. They have to do better. But yeah, it's not enough to overtake the teams above them. Next up, Aston Villa, 5th position. Now, Villa continue to improve their squad year upon year. And some smart incomings, but quite damaging outgoings, I think, as well. They've lost Diaby at quite a prime time of his career. Don't know why he's gone to Saudi, but fair enough to him. Douglas Luiz, massive loss. That cannot be underestimated. Massive loss. However, bringing on Onana is also a massive win. You know, not really like for like, but he's a great player in himself. So maybe just a different kind of players. What Emery wanted here. You've got to believe Emery, really, because he's proven that you give him the minerals, you've seen what he can do with the team, turned their ambitions totally around. 1920, they just about missed out on relegation. Now look at them, UCL. But talking about UCL, I think it will test their squad, and hence why I think they'll just about miss out on a UCL place for the next year at 5th position. But yeah, man, Villa fans, you've got to trust Emery. He's building something great. Now, the top 4. Here we go. I start off with Tottenham Hotspur in 4th position. And there's some great bits of business here. Obviously, Archie Gray from Leeds United. Very, very talented youngster. I've tipped him to actually be one of the young players of this season. That might age terribly, but I don't know. I'm a big fan. Timo Werner they brought back on loan. Young Swedish lad, Bergvall, something like that. And obviously Solanke helps bring in some goals, which, I mean, they were scoring enough goals already, but with Solanke in there, who knows what they can do this year. But this is what I'm saying. I think Ange will always be stubborn in how he is. He'll play how he wants to play. Very aggressive, very attacking, ruthless, high line. But that is why it could be the downfall of him one day. This year I think it'll work, get Champions League. Yeah, I'm betting that they will score a lot more than what they'll concede. However, this is relying on a lot to stay fit. Van de Ven needs to stay fit. It depends if Heung-min Son can have a good season. So, yeah, and even then, a lot of outgoings. Emerson Royale's gone, Eric Dyer, Perisic, Sessegnon, Tanganga, Højbjerg. But all of them had to go as well, so not really stressed about that. But Tottenham, back in Champions League, what they want, what they need. So I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And now, Liverpool in third place. I think this is where Liverpool, Arnold Slot obviously coming in, inheriting a good team. Haven't made any signings as what I'm recording this now. He just left, he was obviously pressing for Zubimendi, but rejected. I don't think it's inherently a terribly bad thing, because he's inherited a good squad. And if you don't need to make such drastic signings, I think it's probably more positive things. So you're keeping the cohesion there. They've had a great pre-season, to be fair. They beat Arsenal, United, Sevilla. No significant outcomes. Obviously, Thiago, Matip, and Carvalho out. But for the most part, I do think they're lacking that extra midfielder, which is why obviously we're going in for Zubimendi. Arnold Slot, it'll be interesting to see how he does. I do think he'll start off well, but yeah, with the UCL as well, I want to see how they do in the UCL. Mohamed Salah, obviously he's bald now, so let's see, man. I'm trying to see what he's on. Yeah, Liverpool, very hard to predict this year, but I do think they'd come third. I just think there's a massive gap between the top three, and well, even then, I think there's a massive gap between first, second, third, the rest. That's what I think. Talking about first and second though, this is what we're waiting for. Who's first? Who's second? You can see the badge. You can see me and Robert Pires in the background. I actually need to decorate this background a bit more. It's getting a bit boring, isn't it? But regardless, I predicted them to win the league last year, Arsenal. This year, I'ma do it again. This may be copium, this may be delusion, this may be just me being a madman, but I've got to back my boys, man. I've got to back them. Surely they can't win it 5 in a row. Surely, come on. So yes, Manchester City, second place. It is silly to underestimate City, really, but no, I'm not doing that. I'm not underestimating City whatsoever. Pep does not care about the rules. You can say, oh, they never won. No one's ever won it 4 times before. Wins it 4 times. No 100 points, gets 100 points. Like, he is a monster. Got the treble. So 5 years in a row is definitely possible. But I'm just trying to play the odds here. Hopefully, one time it goes wrong. They've had no real significant incomings, I don't think. They've had like a young Brazilian, Savinho. Obviously, they've let go Julian Alvarez, which was actually it's out of nowhere, really. But when you think about it, it's kind of expected. But yeah, I think, they have the know-how how to do it and how to win the league. They maybe even one-on-ones in those one-off games. Obviously, I mean, they didn't beat Arsenal the whole of last year. So I was about to say City would probably beat Arsenal like in a game. But they haven't beaten them the whole of last year in the Community Shield. Arsenal won. They won at the Emirates. They drew at the Etihad. So I don't know, but I just think Erling Haaland will be a big issue this year. I think he'll be back. I think he will have like a season like his first. But I don't know. This might just be a little bit delusion, man. This genuinely might be a little bit delusion. But I'm predicting Arsenal first. Now, why am I predicting Arsenal first? Let's get into it. So 1 point off last year. With that UCL in the background, so it can't be like the season 22-23 where we did so well because we're in Europa League. No, we were doing multiple things at once, and we really ran it down to the wire with Manchester City. 1 point only, and it was so unlucky. We get closer every year. I'm just praying that this is the year we can finally bring it home. I mean, I'm 19 this year. I've never seen my team win the league. I'm born 2005. Been saying this, there's not been too many signings whatsoever. Calafiori's the only one really. We've signed also like a young Ajax keeper, Tommy Setford. Only outgoing as well. Emil Smith-Rowe to Fulham, obviously. But Timber feels like a new signing, if he can stay fit. And I think in the past, people's discussion was that Arsenal don't have the depth to compete with City. I think now that we do. We have defensively, I think our depth is amazing. Maybe the attack is what we need. Obviously, we're looking to bring in Mikel Merino as well, which I think ain't a bad play whatsoever. I'd love to see us bringing a wing up for the end of the season, really. Or before the end of the window, I should say. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really edging this in our favour here, hoping that we can bring it home. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be one of them down to the wires again. But I'm just thinking maybe mentally for Manchester City, they are mentally monsters. Monsters is an understatement in that. I'm thinking Arsenal bring it home this year. And if they don't, you start to question when they will. Like, will they have to wait until Pep has to leave the league? Or because you know there'll be a time where a lot of these players, you know, Saka and Martinelli and Odegaard, they won't be them young players, them fiery players. They will be, you know, quite. I mean, even then, you can say right now they're quite more mature. They're in their like mid-20s ish, 23, 22, 24. But I don't know. I do think their time has to come where the narrative shifts, and let's hope, fingers crossed, this year. And I'm saying Arsenal come 2025, they will be Premier League champions. And that will be weird to say. But people, that is my Premier League predictions. What else can I say? Top goal scorer, I'll say Haaland. I said he'd be back this year. I'll get Golden Glove. I'll give it David Raya again, back to back. Young Player of the Year, I'm going to give Archie Gray. And Player of the Year, I'm going to give Bukayo Saka. It was either him or Odegaard. I'm going to go Saka. I think Saka will be back this year. I mean, he was never gone, but, you know, people like to start narratives. But yeah, people, thank you all very much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. Like I said, if you want to let me know your Premier League predictions, you can either leave in the comment or come to the Discord. We'll be discussing this all week. Week upon week, we'll be discussing football. And obviously, that Fantasy Premier League. We have our mini league. £30 for the winner. So please, just give it a go. Come join in. But yeah, let me know. What do you think of my predictions? Am I deluded? Am I an idiot? Or am I a fucking genius? I know what I'd go for, people. But thank you all very much for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one very soon.